Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It is Saturday evening. This is going to be the week 8 update since fully living out of the brokerage account. In the video, I'll cover, of course, the options trades this week, the dividend income, what the deposit amount was, what my current margin balance what is, and then what I purchased with my deposit this week. Slight change in strategy this week as well that I'll go over here in a second. Real quick for the new viewers, as always, we are fully living out of the brokerage account, so all of my income does not go to my checking account. It now goes into my brokerage account and then is invested into these three different categories. So high yield, 25% into dividend growth, and 25% into growth. This is going to change a little bit. 50% of the net account value sold in puts. That is going to change a little bit. I'll cover in a second here. But all of my income generated from this portfolio, regardless of how it's generated, goes to my bills. So that pays my bills every month. And then what is not covered, or what is not enough to cover my bills, is borrowed on margin to bridge the gap in between. So eventually the amount that I'm bringing in from the portfolio will surpass what my expenses are and my bills are every month. And then at that point, I can choose to do what I want with my time to a lesser extent. So jumping into the actual results this week, go into Snowball here. So I'm going to now use Snowball Analytics to report a little bit more, and I'll go over in a second why. But first, just going into the dividends received this week, we had WPay, we had Ulti, YMAX, Misty, and XDTE all paid this week. You can see the amounts here. And then this coming week, same thing, WPay. I've been sitting on BITX that I was assigned on from a previous sold put. So I will get the payout for that next week. If I'm still holding them, I assume that I will be. And then I'm going to get BTCI, which is a newer holding for me, QQQI, my Starbucks dividend, which is a pretty decent amount, SPYI, Ulti, XDTE, and YMAX. So quite a few payments coming next Friday and next week. So that'll be pretty good. Going back to the portfolio here, I've been underwater on this BITX position for a little while now. I was assigned on Halloween, and I've been holding for a few weeks here. It is currently at $28.11. My net stock cost or cost basis on it is $48.65, so $20 below. So I'm well below right now. I'll be holding these for probably a little while, which is why I'm probably going to receive this dividend, which is fine. It'll go towards my credits here and lower this net stock cost. So another $8.98 I had to pay to hold these shares in margin interest. So I'm just trying to sell calls at this point pretty conservatively until it recovers back closer to my cost. And then just enough to cover this amount and maybe a little bit more if I'm able to. So we'll see what happens. The dividend's going to help as well. I'm hoping that I can get out of this position maybe in a couple of weeks here, and then be done with this in general. So to segue from this, a slight change to the portfolio, and I need to update the strategy here. But in Velocity portfolio, I'm no longer going to be selling puts, at least not as often. If I see a good opportunity, then I will, but I'm not going to be consistently selling puts in this portfolio anymore for a number of reasons. The main and most important reason is my margin balance is increasing, is going to continue to increase as I pay more bills and time goes on. So my equity percentage is going to drop more and more, and I'm going to get closer to that 50% threshold that I want to get to, or even 60% to be safe. So I'm no longer going to have as much room to sell puts, because eventually half or 50% of the net asset value is only going to be like $5,000 or $10,000, or it might be close to zero if I'm sitting close to a 50% equity percentage. So I'm just going to get out ahead of it and stop selling puts in this portfolio. Now, the other reason why I'm going to do that is because I had a video a couple days ago that announced I am going to start covering my traditional IRA on this channel. So I've decided to use my traditional IRA. It has actually cashed everything out yesterday. It has a little over $41,000 in it. I'm going to start running the wheel strategy in that portfolio. And if you missed the last video, check that out with what the strategy is going to be there. So I'm going to start covering that earlier in the week, and then I'm going to cover Velocity portfolio later in the week. So I'll be doing both. So those two reasons are the reason why I'm going to stop selling puts in this portfolio. And that way I can use my time to make sure and make sure I'm doing what I need to do in the traditional IRA and what I'm trying to accomplish there. So this will become just a pure income from dividends portfolio. Maybe occasionally I will sell a put or whatnot, but I'll let you guys know either way. So going back to Snowball here and the dashboard, Velocity portfolio is currently sitting at a gross account value of $112,210. Quite a drop, even after my deposit this week, because the market was pretty volatile this week and quite a big drop. A little bit of a recovery yesterday on Friday, but quite a big drop this week. That's on 129,000 invested. And then I added my margin balance in here. I wanted to be able to display it on this platform. So my current margin balance shows or is sitting at $15,293. So if you subtract that number from this number, that gives you the net asset account value, or the net account value, which is roughly about 97,000. I'm not too concerned with the net account value. I'm more concerned with the gross, but I wanted to put it in here to show it. My passive income percentage from dividends is sitting about 20% and about 22, a little less than 23 annually. So that's been stagnant and kind of been dropping for a while, as I keep mentioning. But you can see my growth allocation I'd like to hit is 25%. I'm sitting at 18. So I'm getting closer and closer each week. More importantly, though, my allocation versus my target allocation has now dropped below on my high yield funds. So what that means for me is I can start buying high yield funds again. It's kind of the rule that I set for myself. So I've been buying growth, nothing but growth, for 3 or 4 weeks now. Now I'm going to start splitting the difference a little bit. I'll still be bringing this back up to 25 or close to 25, but I'm going to be trying to keep this around 50%. Right now it's pretty close, but I don't want it to be under. 50% is like a bare minimum I want my high yield funds to be at. So when I decided to start living out of my brokerage account, from what I was doing with it previously, I was already pretty heavy in high yield funds. So that's why the last few weeks I've had to put a lot more into growth, just trying to bring that up to, I think, a safer allocation to kind of create more of a base in the portfolio, so to speak. Because quite frankly, the reason why this portfolio is down a lot is because of these high yield funds, specifically YMAX, or I should say Yield Max funds. The 3 that I hold are down pretty substantially. So, and everything was down this week, to be fair, a lot of things. So I hold BTCI and BITX, which Bitcoin just took an absolute beating this week. So that's a big part of it as well. But so I'm trying to build that base with dividend growth and growth, but my dividend growth has been doing pretty well so far with the 1 share of Costco, 200 shares of Starbucks, and 107 shares of Pepsi. So all in all, I'll be continuing to get towards the target allocation here. Last but not least, the deposit this week was $2,501. And I wanted to highlight what I bought with that this week. You can see here's the buys. So I bought 10 more shares of TQQQ, and I'm currently holding, this is in the growth, I'm currently holding 20, I think it is. Yeah, 20. So I had 10. When the market dropped again on yesterday morning, I had 10, and it was currently below my cost basis. So I thought, okay, we're kind of at a point here where it could bounce. The SPY was sitting right on the 100 SMA, simple moving average. So I thought, okay, we're either going to drop and cave here or we're going to bounce. And it kind of sat around down there, and the longer it sat on that trend line, I had a feeling it was going to bounce. So I decided to buy 10 more shares of it right there. And sure enough, the market ended up bouncing up. Doesn't mean anything for Monday. Monday, it could just go right back down through the 100-day SMA. Could have been a bear trap or a bull trap, whatever. But I decided to buy some more there, and it ended up working out pretty well for me. I don't plan on holding these for long, UPRO and TQQQ. I think once the market gets back to market highs or relative highs, I'm going to unload them. I don't want to hold them long term, but I'm using them as kind of a hedge and also kind of a recovery tool for when the market drops a substantial amount. Then I also purchased 2 more shares of Microsoft. I was under my cost basis on it by like 8%. I was down more on it than some of my other holdings, and it's just a great company, so I decided to buy 2 more there. And then NVIDIA, same kind of reason as Microsoft. I bought 6 more. They just had a great earnings report. I think there's still a long runway for NVIDIA in a lot of ways, so I bought more. And then a share of ASTS because I had a little cash left over, and I just believe this company in 5 years will be pretty substantial. So going into last but not least, I said that already once, but I wanted to go into just my total allocation here. if I can find it, here we go, diversification. So you can see some of these are starting to come down a little bit as I balance out. So I bought a couple more shares of Microsoft, so I'm kind of sitting at my cap of 5% that I want to be at. I'm bringing these down, obviously, because I was heavy in these when I kind of started living out of my brokerage, so they'll be coming down. But I bought a couple more of Microsoft. I bought a couple more of NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is still only 2.39% of my portfolio. I bought TQQQ, which is right here, very, very small amount. I'll keep scaling into it if the market continues to drop. Same with UPRO. TQQ was down quite a bit more. And then ASTS, very, very small. So bought one share of that. So that is week 8. Like I said, it'll just be dividends from here on out. I'll just use Snowball Analytics. The timing is good too because I'm finally going to start buying high yield funds again a little bit, and that'll help increase my passive income percentage and my dividends annually. So start kind of moving towards the goal a little bit more. It's been kind of stagnant here for a few weeks, so I'm excited to get back to that. I will catch you guys on the next video early next week. I'll be doing some trades this Monday in the IRA account, and I'll report on that. It'll be the first week of selling puts on the roughly $41,000. So look forward to that earlier in the week, and it'll be a weekly thing like Velocity Portfolio where I'm covering what open positions I have and whatnot. So be sure to check that out. Thank you guys, and let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns.